Welcome to our latest 305 Vox Populi podcast here in the town of Miami Lakes. We have a great episode today waiting for you. We have an amazing guest, Giovanni Lorenzo, here with us today. And also, we're powered by Miami Lakes Auto Mall. Thank you to Fred Senra. We really appreciate it. And today's food sponsor is Diced of Miami Lakes. They're located at 7425 Miami Lakes Drive, open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Thank you to Alejandra Bustos from Diced Management. I really appreciate it. I know we're doing the ribbon cutting there very, very soon. New restaurant in the town. Make sure you check them out. And also our great production team from Matter Lakes Academy, the Bears. This would not be possible if it wasn't for the young folks there who do an amazing, amazing job. The future is bright at Matter Lakes, and these folks are an example of that. So, Giovanni, welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So, to break the ice, I saw here you're a Marlins fan.
Yes, huge, diehard Marlins fan since the beginning.
Man, so I was at the second game ever as a kid when we played, I think it was the Dodgers, right?
It was the Dodgers.
Daryl Strawberry was on that team.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that. I remember the 97, 03 winning the championship. But yeah, it's been a tough ride.
Oh, those are great times. 97, 03, Josh Beckett getting the final out. Oh, so great. But yeah, the last few years have been rough. Making the playoffs last year was definitely a highlight for everything. And I'm hoping this season is hopefully a great season this season. And we're allowed to go back to games again this year. And I'm excited to be back at the ballpark again.
Wait, talking about ballpark, you've been to every single ballpark in the nation?
I've been to every single major league ballpark in the stadium in the United States, from Miami to Seattle, San Francisco, across to Pittsburgh, New York. Been to all of them. It took me a few years, I think about 6-7 years, but every summer I would hit a few of the stadiums and knock them out.
Man, that's what your favorite stadium?
Pittsburgh, definitely. The sight lines, the view with the bridges in the back, the rivers crossing each other through. Beautiful.
I know we were talking about earlier. That's one of the cool things about like Pittsburgh and those cities is that there's really not. Miami's kind of like baseball and stuff. It's secondary, but those cities, that's what they live for every single day. They talk about sports and stuff like that, and I'm sure you saw that when you visited.
It's a passion that you see. You go to some of these ballparks at St. Louis or Baltimore where the fans are watching every second of the game into every moment of a baseball game. Over here, yeah, they love the game, but at the same time, there's this and that going on. But when they're there at Baltimore, St. Louis, all those major cities, they love the game, and that's their passion. And you see that. And it's cool to see different cultures you get when you go to all the different ballparks and stadiums.
Got it. I apologize. I let my phone ring here for a second, but that's all good. But yeah, talking about passion, because I know we broke the ice with baseball, but your passion is teaching.
Absolutely.
And I see that here. Quick thing. When I was on the board of Doral Academy, when we made the decision to open Doral College, and I see that you're a professor there, so I'm glad to see that it's still thriving and doing well. But talk to me about your passion of teaching and making sure that the next generation, moves forward.
I've always loved being a teacher. The idea of being a teacher ever since I was in high school was something that was always in my mindset. So once I graduated college, I knew I needed to be a teacher. And I just chose math just because that was the one that came easy to me. But at the same time, it's also a passion of mine as well. So I just walk into my classroom. I've been teaching at Matter Lakes for about 12 years now. And just seeing these students, even some of the students right here, they're just working with them on a daily basis, trying to push them, trying to be better each day. It just gives me the excitement to go into work every day. And sometimes you're waking up, it's tough to wake up, but then you know that you're going to students that care, that they want to be there. You want to help them be better. And that's part of just being a teacher and the excitement of it on a daily basis. And then hearing some of these kids, I'm going to this school, I'm going to this school. It's like, all right, wow, you help these kids get to where they're going to go and achieve some of their goals. And you had a major part in that. And that's great that's happening for these guys.
So how has, talk about teaching and how that's played a role in your lifestyle, your outlook and everything you do in life?
I mean, teaching's it. You wake up, you teach during the whole school year, and it's a great job where you teach during the year, and then you got summers where you can kind of just do your own thing, travel. I love to travel in itself, so I can be focused on my job from September to May, and then take my summers to explore, see different places, do different things as well. So that's kind of the things that come with teaching on the daily.
That's phenomenal, and one thing that I really have realized, especially with having this incredible production team that runs the show, invites the guests, does everything from A to Z, is that some of these kids are way and above what's happening in Miami-Dade College. I see, I think some of them already have 100 something credits. So I'm sure there's some adults that you're already teaching at MDC or where not, but these high schoolers, 17-year-olds, 18 years old, and they're way ahead of the curve. So kudos to you and all the teachers, because I think the education today is far in advance to what was being taught when we were in high school.
Oh,
I'm a little bit
absolutely.
older than you. I was born in '83,
Yeah,
so I think I'm 3 years older than you. But I
correct.
mean, it's so far in advance. So kudos to you.
Absolutely. And you see some of these kids, they're juniors in high school sitting there with 60, 70 credits in college. You're like, oh my goodness, I wish I would have had those opportunities when I was in high school. I got into college with maybe 12, 15 credits, and I was like, oh, I'm so proud of myself. I got one semester done. These guys are almost graduates of college as they're walking in their first year. I have students that graduated last year. They're at UF right now, sitting there with 75, 80, 90 credits. Like, oh my goodness, that's great. And they can take an advancement, get into med school earlier. They can get into a law program earlier because they were given these great opportunities, and they took advantage of those opportunities that were given to them as well.
And talking about student debt, I mean, what you're all doing for them. Imagine they're avoiding all that. Now student debt has surpassed credit card debt in our nation. It's a major crisis going on. But I mean, just by having all those credits in high school and you pushing them forward, and at Miami-Dade, at Doral College, but also what you do every day, I mean, that's truly phenomenal.
That's one of the things I'll tell these guys, like, hey, you're getting 5 credits for this AP course. Take it seriously. I know you're graduating, you're already going to wherever you're going to next year, but it's 5 credits less that you're going to be paying for at the next level. That's 4 credits less you're going to be paying for. The 60 credits, they rack up. And that's, like you said, a lot less debt you're going to be paying for. And student debt just keeps going up and up and up. So I say take advantage. And these kids, they understand that. And that's great they understand it. But there's others that just, unfortunately, don't see that. But I'm happy that these students here take advantage of that.
Man, so you have a math degree.
Have a master's in math.
Well, that's phenomenal. Math is tough, but why the love? Why the love of math, of numbers?
It's one of those that just comes to you, it makes sense in your head, and you just kind of roll with it. And I would remember when I was taking my college courses, I'd sit there in a calculus 3 class, be so excited. I'm there like, all right, I'm doing these homework problems. How exciting. Other people are just like, oh, I just got to get through this class. I'm like, no, I'm excited to come to this class. I want to go to this class. And then, there's some classes you'll sit there and you're like, oh man, am I really going to have to prove this and this and this? And it's understandable. But other classes I would be really excited about, really passionate about it. And that drove me to get my master's in math, which also helped open the doors to teach at Miami-Dade, open the doors to work at Doral College, and do all these other things that I do. So yeah, it's great passion that I was able to find through my years of, post-secondary learning.
No, I love the energy. I think it's so important to have teachers that truly believe in what they're doing, right? You're obviously not there for the money to become a millionaire or whatnot, but you're there to make an impact. And talking about making an impact, I heard the producers that told me that you have a kickball league.
We do. We have a kickball league here locally on Wednesday nights. It's called Koala Kickball that plays at PSN Park over right by here. We've been around since 2015. So for about 6 years now, everybody kind of knows that we're the place to go play kickball. Wednesday nights, 7 to 9. And people have a good time with it. Usually we get our lowest leagues have had 8, 9, 10 teams. So we've gone all the way up to 24 teams. So we'll fill up PSN Park with maybe 250, 300 kickballers, adult kickballers on a weekly basis. And it's really exciting that I just kind of get out there and everybody kind of knows their roles. Everybody's, all right, I got to go play in this field. They go play and they just out there mostly have a good time. And that's a midweek distraction that they say, all right, cool, we're going to go out, play, have a good time, and proceed with our week.
No, I think kickball needs to be mandatory in our society. We got to get everybody playing kickball.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely. They should all come out Wednesday nights for Koala Kickball.
One thing that when I was in the Florida legislature, I spent 7 years up there from '05 to 2012. Obviously a very cool environment, but also divisive sometimes, right? Where people have difference of opinion and major philosophical opinions. But one thing that we understood, it was never personal. So what we did was we had a kickball league.
Really?
Up in the legislature where Republicans, Democrats, Independents, we played every single week. But we got along, and that's where I wanted to hit on that. It's the one sport that I think really brings people together because everybody can play.
Oh, of course.
Together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no, I can't physically do this or that. Nah, everybody can just go out there, throw a ball around, kick a ball, run a little bit. Everybody can do it. And you're right. It's just kind of a place where everybody gets together. Like between the lines, there's some people that get a little more excited than others. But at the end of the day, everybody kind of understands, hey, we're out here because we're playing kickball and we're able and we're blessed to be out here just to play kickball. Like we're a bunch of 5-year-olds up in the schoolyards and we could do this as adults. on a weekly basis, and that's great. And it's super cool that you guys were able to do that in Tallahassee.
No, I think we got to do it in Washington. Can you imagine if we get Nancy Pelosi? She's the lead on one team, and we get Mitch McConnell on the other. But I think that's the way people should maybe even conduct business, because you get to the core, you start realizing you have more in common than whatnot. But that's when I realized it in the legislature, and some of those folks, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, to today are still friends of mine, but because we broke that barrier. If
Right.
it were based on our jobs that, hey, I advocated for this policy, you advocated for that, maybe we never had a chance to talk. But kickball broke that mold for us, and to this day is phenomenal. So I really appreciate you doing that, because it brings everybody can play, but it brings people together,
Oh,
and that's so
absolutely,
important.
absolutely. And there's times I'll be out somewhere here in Miami Lakes, and they're like, "Oh, you're that kickball? Yeah, I played that kickball league a couple years ago." Or, "Oh, yeah, I remember koala kickball. I've done that a few times." Or there's people that are playing it now. So there's people that do that. And then just recently, we actually started also a volleyball league at the same park as well on Monday nights. So then we have a different sect of people that come out and they play volleyball, and that's pretty cool as well. We just started that, and people seem excited about it as well. So we have volleyball on Monday nights at PSN, and Wednesday nights we have kickball.
That's phenomenal. Well, why the koala?
So when we started the company 6 years ago, we were just trying to think something cute, something that people like see, like, oh, okay, that's something people might get on board with. So koala actually stands for Kickball Obsessed Adult Leagues Association. So koala. And so we kind of went with that. We made a cute little logo, and kind of like, all right, maybe koala, cute, and everything kind of rolls with that. And koala kickball, KK, kind of like blends, rolls off the tongue a little bit.
No, it definitely does. Are you the only founder of the league? Are there any other folks that are involved?
It's actually three of us. My partner, he's actually the law teacher at Matter Lakes as well. I've known him for a long time. And then there's a third partner. He's been a friend of ours for years. So between the three of us, we're the ones that founded the business and started playing with that. And then from there, we've kind of expanded a little bit. We went down to Tropical Park. We've gone up to Pines, all the way even down to Cutler Bay. So we've tried to expand and go a little bit here and there, but our best success has actually been up here. And I don't know if it's because it's the Miami Lakes community that really gets behind us and supports us the most, or because it's Wednesday nights. But it seems like our best and our flagship league has always been up here in the Miami Lakes area.
Or do you guys have any sponsors? I'm sure people get really excited and want to join. Talk to me about some of your main sponsors that you have.
Our number one sponsor has always been the Sports Grill at Miami Lakes. So after our games, everybody they congregate at the Sports Grill over there at Miami Lakes, and they just kind of just have dinner and have a good time there for an hour, 2 hours. And they've always been very accommodating to us. They have some nice little logos in there that say, Koala can call plays here, eats here, and stuff. So usually Wednesday nights, you'll see all of us congregating there for a few hours till about 11 midnight, just talking about the game, maybe watching a Heat game that's on at the time or a baseball game that's on that night, etc. Just kind of just hanging out from there.
That's phenomenal, especially bringing the business to a local restaurant here, Sports Grill. Great folks, great operator.
Absolutely.
The COVID-19 pandemic and koala. I mean, what challenges do you got to sanitize the ball every time? I mean, what happens? What does that look like? How does the league look like today?
So as everybody else got shut down in March and April, of course, we were shut down. The parks were closed, etc. So we had to shut down our operations until about, I think, October is when we finally were able to open up again and we were allowed to go out there and play again. So basically, we have temperature checks as they come in. We put a wristband on there so they know that they've been checked, they're clean to play. And then when they're on the field, they are wearing masks while they're playing koala kickball. In terms of the balls and stuff, we make sure that each team has their own ball as they're playing. So that way there's no cross between the kickballs between both sides of the playing field. And that's kind of been what we've been doing for now. And it seems to have worked out. No problem. We haven't had any issues between our first season back from COVID in October to December, and we're back here on our second season post-COVID, and I was surprised that we've been able to fill out the 16 teams the first season. We're out to about 14 to 15 teams again this season. So I think people just wanted to get out, and they just wanted to look forward to doing something again.
And I think team sports are so important, especially during the pandemic. We know that the impact hasn't only been financially or physically, but mentally. And I think team sports like kickball kind of break through that. And hearing that you started in October, I mean, you guys didn't wait. I mean, we started our baseball league up this weekend here in Miami Lakes, and we know how that's happened. I'm starting up basketball and flag football this next month. But I'm really happy to hear that you guys started in October.
Well, our customers were just constantly emailing us, messaging us. They were desperate to get back out there. They wanted to look forward to something again. And I think that's what happens for a lot of these people. It's something they look forward to every week. The toughs of the week, Monday, Tuesday, all right, Wednesday, all right, I know it's kickball night, Wednesday. And once they get through Wednesday, it's Thursday, Friday, the rest of the week. I can get through the rest of the week without a problem. So I think it's something they were itching to get back out there again. And they were pushing us and pushing us. And once we got okay from the city to go out there and restart the league, we jumped right at it.
I really appreciate that because that's so vital, and I want to see that happen across you got to take koala across the nation. I think.
We're trying to do little by little with the expansion. We're working on it.
No, that's truly phenomenal. But how has COVID impacted you? I mean, as a teacher, as somebody who loves traveling, running a league. I mean, well, from your perspective, how has it impacted your life?
I will say this has been the most challenging year of teaching, I think, in my 12-year in the profession. I am definitely not used to having to teach students via Zoom right in front of me while having students in front of me as well in person, and especially teaching math. It's a lot more challenging sitting there and saying, hey, mister, I don't get this. And normally I'll just walk up to the student. Oh, okay, oh, look, you forgot this problem, or look at this step. When someone's trying to show you something from your screen and say, oh, look, it's right here. Oh, look, this. And it's a little frustrating. You can't see the process. And you don't really know if they're as engaged online as they are when you're looking them dead in the eye and saying, hey, do you get this? And they can look at you, I get this. Or no, listen, I don't get this, Lorenzo. I don't get this. And just elements of that. And I understand why some students stay home. I understand why students are willing to come into school. It just creates an extra challenge. It's almost like a barrier that's being placed between me and the student. But as everybody else is doing, we got to fight through those challenges. We have to adjust to those challenges and try to do the best we can and by making those adjustments. And there's only so much we can do, but we have to do the best we can in what we do while we're teaching.
Yeah, I know that's so difficult because you work so hard to see these educational gains increase every year, and I think COVID has kind of wiped that out. And you have there was an article today in the Herald that talked about all these kids that are still missing. I mean, there's still kids today that the school district, Broward, Dade County, hasn't been able to find. So to me, that's heartbreaking. I think that's one of the worst impacts.
There's more likely a chance students will fall through the cracks if they're not coming in physically to school, and it's harder to track students virtually. It's just very difficult, and there's some people that just aren't well fortuned and able to get the same accommodations that others are, and unfortunately, people are slipping through the cracks, and it's sad, and that's really sad that that's happening, and some people aren't getting the same opportunities because they are unable to physically go into school. And as you said, yeah, there's some kids that they're lost, and you even see some kids that are just at home right now. Yeah, they're logging in, but they're just not receiving the same education, I feel, as they would if they are in person.
No, I think it shows in the numbers. I mean, I know the failure rate throughout our nation is through the roof. I got a lot of flack from some folks because in the middle of the pandemic, when the school year was starting up, I was extremely upset. Specifically, our special needs kids. I mean, it is impossible for our special needs kids to receive services via video and stuff like that. So I remember taking on folks say, hey, we need to reopen schools immediately, at least for our special needs population to get help. But I mean, you guys are doing everything you can. My sister's a teacher too, so I understand.
Yeah, I think at least having the option. If you decide, obviously, your child, I don't want my child to come to school, and that's your option, that's your decision. But having the ability to say, hey, you want to go back to school, you can go back into school. And it says something about a student's mental health as well. Being at home for a very long time, not being social with other people, your peers, for too much time, really does take a toll. And you've seen that in many other states. You've seen that with people that have not been in school physically since March of last year. That's a long time for someone to be isolated from their peers, because I think school is more than just the education. You learn a lot by just being social with others, interacting, and there's more to it than just the education aspect.
No, that's to me, it's just been heartbreaking to see that happen. But I truly appreciate teachers like you and who understand how important it is to have that option. Hey, if your family doesn't want you to go to school, if you don't want to go, that's okay. But you got to give that option, especially to the working class in our society that were, they had no other choice but to go out and work, and then they were leaving their kids at home with no option. So I appreciate folks like you that really believe in that, because
Absolutely. Thank you.
Man, so going back to the Marlins real quick, who's your favorite player of all time?
Oof, all time, man. You can go a lot of things. You can sit there and say, of course, Jose Fernandez. How unfortunate with Jose Fernandez. So sad. You can go way back, man. I loved Juan Pierre when he was here.
JP.
Oh, JP was great. Stealing all them bases, 200 hits that one season. Going way back.
Yeah, Gary Sheffield.
Gary Sheffield. You're taking me all the way to 97. That
Gary
is
Sheffield.
Gary Sheffield with his little wiggle in the bat when he would go up there to play. Man, Bobby Bonilla was in there. That's going way back.
You know that Bobby Bo's still getting paid.
Every year on July 1st, he's still getting paid from the New York Mets. That's insane.
It's the best contract ever.
Oh, absolutely. What a genius.
Ever.
What a genius. And it's well known. Bobby Bonilla Day, July 1st. Whoever worked that contract, genius.
The best. That's the best agent in baseball history.
Oh, absolutely. Still getting paid. And he's got his pension and everything else from Major League Baseball as well. So he did it right. He did it right.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the sports are so different because in baseball, it's a guaranteed contract.
Absolutely.
Where in football, you get waived. If you don't have that guaranteed money, it doesn't work out. Basketball is guaranteed, but in football, it doesn't work. So it's...
Yeah, I was having this conversation with a student the other day. They're like, oh, yeah, so-and-so's getting this money for football. I'm like, yeah, but that money doesn't mean he's going to get it. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, that's not the way it works in football. Where baseball, they sit there, hey, you're getting $300 million. You're getting $300 million. And if you end up not playing well through those years... Yeah, the team's going to have to suffer through it, and that's going to happen with maybe the Phillies and Bryce Harper. Who knows?
Man, I love Bryce Harper. He's a great player, man. I felt bad for him when he left the Nationals and then ended up winning the World Series.
Well, he said himself, oh, yeah, we're going to bring a World Series to the Nationals. Well, he was already playing for the Phillies, but he ended up taking it for the Nationals ended up winning, and he's over there watching him like, ugh.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. But pivoting real quick, just because I know our producers are part of this, and I want to make sure we touch upon this before we close out the pod. FBLA, what's FBLA? Talk to us about your team. What's going on?
So FBLA, the Future Business Leaders of America. And this is a club that I never thought in a million years. I didn't even know it existed until I was just kind of put in there about 7 years ago. And little by little, it's developed to be a club where the students there, they just learn a lot of ideas and business principles or just life skills principles that they don't even know they had. So basically, they just come in, they kind of pick a topic they're going to excel in, and they just compete on the district, state, and national level. So I have some examples of some students. A couple of them are here right now. They started competing together as a team their 10th grade year. And they didn't realize they weren't really the best public speakers. They weren't really know how to express themselves well, but they kind of grew that confidence and they've developed, and they actually did really well that they were able to compete at the national level, got 9th in the nation.
Wow.
Impressive. So they come back their junior year this year and they actually get first place in the nation. They got national championships for FBLA. And I was astonished that they were able to put that stuff together. But it really just kind of brings out parts of individuals that they didn't expect they were able to do. In terms of designing things, maybe making websites, maybe making computer programs. There's just so much a student can do with that club that they don't realize that, hey, I can excel in this. And I've said, oh, it's a smart person club. No, it's not really a smart person club. It's just someone, if you apply yourself on what you enjoy, it's a club that you're going to do really, really well in.
And I being a teacher in your shoes and inspiring these kids every day. Steve Harvey, you know who Steve? We all know who Steve Harvey is. He gave an example when he was in school. He told his teacher that he wanted to be an actor, and his teacher looked at him and was like, "You're not going to be an actor." Nobody from the school became an actor. Nobody on the school was in TV. It's not possible. So I think your perspective, telling the future generations that it's all possible, that you can do it.
Absolutely.
I think that type of inspiration and being, 9th in the nation, now 1st in the nation, I mean, you can do it. We can all do it.
Absolutely. And sometimes people don't even know what they're good at, but they just kind of put up, oh, maybe I might be, oh, that looks interesting. And they sit there, they put their best efforts through, and they could just do amazing things without them even realizing that they were amazing at what they're doing.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I'll give you an example. I've owned 3 businesses, and I always tell everybody, don't do a business plan. Why? I don't know if you tell them or teachers tell them to do this, but I tell folks, you could do it, but sometimes if you do it, you start analyzing things way too much, and you end up stopping yourselves. In all 3 businesses that I've owned, I've never done a business plan. Just because at the times I've tried to do it, it's kind of held me back. But what are your thoughts on that?
No, I just laugh because I'm saying one of our categories is creating a business financial plan and taking a business plan as well. So I just laugh because you mentioned that. But yeah, you sit there and say, like, I have a business as well. You sit there and you sometimes you plan things and then plans change. And if you sit there and you keep yourself too rigid to a situation, you just get really frustrated with yourself if the plans fall through. And people do that with life plans as well. And I tell the students sometimes with that, sometimes things are going to change. Things are going to be stagnant the way you want to. So if you kind of adjust, make your changes on the fly, say, okay, well, this didn't work, let me try this, then you're probably going to be a little much more successful, I'm sure. And I'm sure yes, you have 3 businesses that I'm sure are doing really well. You could probably attest to that as well.
Yeah, it's never perfect. You're gonna learn on the fly. Things change. So that perspective is very, very true. They change. COVID changed everything.
COVID definitely changed everything, of course. I mean, look at Koala Kickball. We sat there, we were flourishing, doing all these parks. Next thing you know, we're shut down. And like, what are we gonna do here? And you just gotta adjust to say, all right, we're gonna renew ourselves, try again, start over, and hopefully get back to where we gotta go.
So as we wrap up today's podcast, you got any questions for me? Anything you want to ask me?
I mean, not too much, but thank you very much for having me here and having this conversation.
I really appreciate you inspiring future generations, being a teacher that cares, somebody that pushes their students and understands. You got to tell them, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. As long as you grind and you put in the work. I mean, you're a perfect example of that. So I really appreciate everything you do on a daily basis.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So we'll see you next week, next Wednesday, same time. Tune in on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Take care.